Hi, my name is James Orvis, and today we're going to look at how to create the synth sound from Mathame's Skywalking, which is out on Afterlife Records. It's a great track, and someone previously in a comment asked if we could do this for you guys. So I hope you enjoy this and you find it useful. Let's have a quick listen to the Mathame's Skywalking track just so you can get an idea of what we're going for. I'm really sorry I can't play that for too long because we'll get flagged by YouTube, but feel free to pause and go ahead and have a proper listen to that whole track to get a good feel of what the synth sounds like. So to do this, we're going to look at Arturia's Pigments, and I thought this would be a great synth to kind of recreate this sound using the wavetables and the unison and chord features of the synth. So this is what I've come up with, and what we're going to do is we're going to have a listen to the whole thing, the finished result, and then we're going to work at deconstructing it, and I'll show you what makes up this sound. So I'm going to go ahead and play with some modulations on a MIDI controller that I've got here, and you'll see the macros moving there when I move around the rate and the filter. There you go, really fun sound to play with. With this sound, it's good when you've got like some drums going and you can play around with the automation and try and get the rhythm in time, and that's exactly what Mathame have done in their track. You'll notice that you get all these kind of nice little shifts in the groove along with the synth, and it's not set to a specific sync LFO, it's just using the hertz, and you can kind of flitter between the different rhythms, and we'll look into that as well when we start to look into this section here. So we're going to start with the MIDI clip actually, and it took me a while to kind of work out what notes they were using, even though it's quite a simple chord pattern. And the reason for that is because that they've got quite a stacked sound, and I was going to stack the notes within here, but then I thought I'd just use the basic kind of triads, and then we'll use the chord feature on the Pigments, which allows you to stack up more notes, like octaves on top, so it's like stacked up this above. So these are the original chords, and what I'm going to do is just go into Pigments, and maybe we'll get rid of this engineer, we'll get rid of the effects. So we're going to really strip it back, and I'm going to show you how I built it up, and we'll probably turn off the send effects as well, and we'll get rid of this. Just 1 second. So if I go in here, just switch that off so the frequency is not moving anymore. Let's have a quick listen to this. And we're going to turn these voices off as well. So this is what we've got to start with. So first what we've got here, instead of using the analog engine, we're using the wavetable engine. And I switched this unison mode over from classic to chord, and that allows us to kind of stack these voices. And what's really cool about this is you've got this stereo knob here, so you can pan the voices out. Something that wasn't originally on the Mathame Skywalking track, but you can make your sound a little bit wider and thicker by using this knob here. So what I did was I just stacked up the voices, so we've got 6 voices here. That gives you a nice kind of big organ type sound. And the waveforms as well, I thought I would settle on like a sawtooth, but I found that the square, once you've stacked up the voices, really sounds quite nice. So a lot thicker sound, like the original track. So that's it for the oscillator really. And what I found was that when I click over to the chord section here, I'll lose this detuning classic unison mode. So I wanted to kind of recreate that by copying this over. So I right-clicked. Actually, I didn't right-click. I went over to this little button here, and you can copy this wavetable over to Engine 2. So if you click on this tab, this is now copied over here, and we've got the same settings, but all I've done is I've gone over to the fine-tune and just bumped this up really. So it starts off around here. just to get that really kind of thick super saw sound, or super square sound in this case. So there's like our basic kind of oscillator makeup, what makes the sound. And the next thing I wanted to play around with was the filter, because obviously the LFO in this sound is a big part of it. And what we did to get this was I brought all the cutoff all the way down. And the first time I tried this, I used the saw LFO, but I found that it wasn't quite punchy enough. It was decaying a bit too long for me. So thankfully in Pigments and quite a lot of other synths as well, you've got a feature where you can kind of shape it a little bit. And it didn't take too much shaping. I kind of just took it from this to this, just to kind of give it like a bit of a faster decay, just slightly, so it wasn't opening up as much. And what we've done here is we've just set this to hertz. So instead of it being synced, we're able to move between different hertz to get kind of different off-sync rhythms and stuff like that. And then I send this to the cutoff. So if we switch that back on again, you can see this start to move. And you can go ahead and move that there, or you can set up a macro. So to set up a macro, I went to M1 and I just set it to modulate this here. So when I open it up, you can see there. It changes the rate of the LFO or the function. And also I wanted to be able to open up the filter as well to kind of open up that decayed sound. So as well as the rate, we've also got macro 2 set up here to F1, so it opens up the cutoff. So you can kind of really open that cutoff. And I noticed on the original track as well, there's a section in the breakdown where the LFO is not going off anymore, and it's got like an enveloped sound. So what you can do there is you can go to functions and switch this off. And if we just go to envelope 2, I think I set this up earlier. So we've got the envelope 2 going to F1 cutoff. And if we go to that, 1 second, it's on the bottom here. So we go to envelopes, envelope 2 here. That's now going to the cutoff. So if I just bring this up a little bit. So that's kind of like what happens in the breakdown after the intro. So you've got that you can play around with as well. Let me just get this back to where it was. So if I just switch on the functions again. So here we go, I've got functions 1. Check this is working. So yeah, there's pretty much the sound of Skywalking. But it doesn't stop there. Obviously you've got to add some effects on as well, just to get that thickness. And so what I did here was add a little bit of overdrive. I forgot to turn these off actually. So without these, it sounds like this. So we've just got this overdrive and chorus. So that's just to give it a bit more grit and make it a little bit wider as well. And then finally, I've got a send bus set up here with a reverb on, set to full wet. Brought the decay and the dampening down a little bit. And what we do here is just send the synth to this reverb return. Help if I switched it on. I think that's a little bit wetter than the actual track. But with these fins, I mean, you can start by trying to recreate a sound and then just make it your own. Like, there's a few fins on here that are probably different to the original, like this kind of stacking with the 2 synth engines and the detuning is probably a little bit different. I've noticed that the Mathame version of this sound is very mono. It's kind of in the center apart from the effects on the outside. So this one I've kind of made it a little bit more stereo. We can go a little bit further on the stereo just by pumping these stereo knobs up here. So you can make it really wide, or we can make it mono again. And you can just play around, so use it as a starting point and then start to kind of twist it and make it your own. I always kind of do that when recreating sounds that I like. So there's a really easy and quick recreation of Mathame's Skywalking synth sound. And I hope you find that useful and you take these ideas away and come up with your own sounds for future tracks that you're working on. Next, I'd like to know, is there any more sounds out there that you want us to try and recreate? Is there any tracks that have come out of the last few months that are just like really, really cool sounds and you're kind of listening to them thinking, how did they do that? We're here to help you guys, and I'll be happy to dig in and kind of work these things out and come back to you guys and show you how to make them. And it's really fun for me actually as well to kind of learn how these sounds are made, and I find it really interesting. So yeah, let us know down below what sounds you want us to recreate, and we'll take a look at those and pick out the best ones. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time.